Hey guys and gals, this is Alex Olson with Xchange Commercial Real Estate here in Kansas City. I know it's been a quick minute since we have actually got together to talk about the multifamily minute, but here it is. It's been about 3 weeks or so, and I want to take this opportunity to take a look at what we got coming on the market, what's been on the market. So let's dive right in. Okay, over here. This is all properties that have been launched within the last 2 or 3 weeks. So many of these, most of these we haven't even talked about yet. One of them is this Olathe property here. It's 10 units for $2 million. I believe we actually have talked about that, close to $200,000 a unit. It's a pretty stiff price. I know that they're large and have been very nice, but for people that want something that's near turnkey, that could be a good asset. We also have something similar, even in Olathe, at a much lower cost per unit, off market on our marketplace. I'd be happy to share with you. So I just want to put that in your back pocket. If you're interested in Olathe, reach out to me and we can discuss further. Another package down here is this Belton property set that's for about $3 million. And let's kind of click into it here and see really some of the further details of it. Belton's a class B minus, sometimes B, sometimes A, sometimes C, sometimes C minus, little town south of the metro. And these have all been, I shouldn't say all, many of these have been remodeled, at least with new flooring. You probably got low owner expenses on there. And it's probably a solid little package of 30 units that someone could take advantage of. I think at 98,000 a unit might be strong, but being that they are 2 and 3 bedroom townhouse style units, it's probably actually a pretty decent price. Would just depend on the rents and some of the other factors that this location could provide for that. Okay, so that's something that you should definitely keep your eye on. I talk a lot about townhouse style units. That is an excellent opportunity. Coming back over here, before I get to the large package, there's this package down here that is another kind of interesting multifamily apartment complex. It is, broke up, looks like it's pretty nice, looks like it's all redone, and it's for 1.55 million, 16 units. So again, you're looking at close to $100,000 a unit. I think that depending on what the rents are, this again could be a decent little opportunity for somebody, depending on what the unit makeup is, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, those kind of things. And it'd be an interesting project to take down together for sure. Okay, let's see here. I'll get to the big package here in a second. This is a property at 25th and Holmes. It is, I'm very familiar with this area. I actually used to own a couple houses on 25th and 27th and Holmes. And so I know right where this particular building is. And it's a good opportunity for somebody, very expensive, but somebody could take advantage of this area because right here is Children's Mercy. Right over here is Hallmark in this area. And so there is just a lot going on. So if you can make the numbers work, could be an interesting opportunity. It's a little low on price. We don't do a ton in that price range. But if you're wanting something that $500,000, $600,000 range, let's jump on that together. Okay, and finally, I think it's finally, well, no, we've got, that one we've talked about, that one. So finally, we have this large portfolio of properties, 21 multifamily property portfolio across a lot of the historic Northeast, a lot of these areas here that are east of 71, a couple midtown properties mixed in there. And I think the plan on something like this would all surround, are you interested in a large package of properties? Historic Northeast, you could turn that into something special if you're able to manage that well. There's a lot of other properties I know coming on market that will be of interest to many buyers. And, it's something you could take down if you're interested in this kind of price range. It's $23 million for 21 multifamily properties scattered site. So it's 272 units for $23 million. So 80 something a door. Not a bad price for that many units. And I'm interested in taking a look closer with you to see what that might look like for you. But I always advise when you have a scattered site like that, that it could be difficult to manage and make that work. So if you've got a lot of equity available, that might be something you could look into if that's your style of properties. Okay, let's see. I think that's everything here within this particular map. So let's go ahead and head over to MLS, which again, I always use Zillow. I've had a lot of people, out-of-state investors, ask me what they use to look for, what they should use to look for properties in Kansas City. Kansas City likes to use Zillow in terms of how it integrates with the MLS and does a pretty good job on the multifamily side of things if you have the filters set up correctly, which my filters are $500,000 plus, multifamily and apartments only, a couple date ranges in here. And so that's where we get the results that we have here. All right, so I have this one sorted a little bit differently. It's priced high to low. This particular property is a series of properties that's located in that location. It's not my favorite package of properties, so I'm going to kind of skip that one and go over to this particular property set, which is in Kansas City, Kansas. Familiar with these properties. He's got they have some good photos in here. She does actually. It's probably not a bad investment. Something you want to take a look at the area and the properties, or it is hit or miss in Kansas City, Kansas. But I think for the right price and right rents, it could be a great opportunity for somebody. Next up is this property here in Independence. And I actually have been pretty familiar with duplexes Independence over the last couple of years. I have a friend of mine that has been trying to sell, or has really kind of had under contract several duplexes similar to these, but newer for a lower price. So I think the price on these is maybe a little bit high, but they've been on the market now for a couple, 3 weeks and are still available. So who knows, there might be some wiggle room in these offering prices. But if you like duplexes, this is an interesting little package here of 8 units for $960. It's pretty high on the price per door for Independence, but something to consider. This particular property set right here is actually, I own in that neighborhood. I've sold in that neighborhood. I have something under contract in that neighborhood. I've sold a lot in this neighborhood actually. And this one is a nice set of duplexes. So there's 8 units, 4 duplexes coming in above $100,000 a unit. I think if you put some, $10,000 to $20,000 per unit into these, you could have a really nice set of duplexes at an amazing location right next to KU Med. You will have no problem keeping these rented, especially with garages. So there could be some opportunity here. It's a little stiff on price, but I do think a person can make those work at, somehow somewhere around 110, 125, 150 a door if you got really excited about the property condition. Okay. Then we have this Overland Park property here. Another area I'm familiar with. This actually has an HOA attached to it. And yes, they have tile and carpet. I think the price is way too high. I've seen a lot in this area sell for $550, $565, $575 is not really, or sorry, $650 is not really what the market would say these are at, unless rents are really high on these. So keep that in mind as you're looking at this particular property. It's only a 4-plex for $650. That's a pretty stiff price. And then we have some additional 4-plexes here in Blue Springs that do not have, I don't think they have an HOA. I shouldn't say that they don't. It doesn't say anything about an HOA. Very high price for 4-plex. They look really nice though. If you look at all the granite and subway tiles and stainless steels and carpets and showers. They do a really good job in these properties on the inside. The outside, could use a different color of paint, in my opinion. And I don't know what kind of rents they're getting to be able to justify these prices. I've seen buildings sell for much higher than this. But hopefully as they get bigger and better rents, these prices will make sense, and maybe these do on a detailed level. I'm happy to look at for you. And that really kind of concludes all of the stuff that's on market in the last couple of weeks that we haven't talked about. I think there's good opportunities here. We're actually, if you follow me at all on this, you've seen a lot of good opportunities come to the market compared to years past. Now, of course, you have rising interest rates, but really kind of look at where you were maybe thinking, say 4, 5, 6 months ago, and where you're thinking now. Plug in the old interest rates with the new interest rates and see how much that actually impacts what you're really willing to pay. Is it decreasing your cash flow by, 1-2% a month? Is that worth not looking at a deal? So just things to consider when you're looking at the market. Now is actually a pretty good time to buy, because sellers even know the market's not as hot as it once was. So, let's talk more about what you're looking for. And then we get back into, actually, this is going to cover very briefly. I'm going to do a full video on this later, but just wanted to talk about the Wyandotte County and the Kansas side submarket. And we did talk a little bit today about Rosedale, which is this red area here. This is a class A, B market, depending on how close you get to KU Med, which is right on the state line. And then you have Rosedale, the rest of Rosedale here. So the closer you get to state line and KU Med, the better product and tenants you're going to have. Then you have another class B, A market here, Strawberry Hill, very up and coming, hot. A lot of businesses are moving to there, good opportunities. Another place to keep your eye on. You have Edwardsville, Kansas, which is another, it's got great schools, small industrial town that's got a lot going for it. Bonner Springs is going to be similar to Edwardsville, but it's bigger. It's going to have a bigger presence because we have a speedway and everything that we have going on there out of Kansas Speedway, along with all that development there around 435 and I-70. And then you have Lansing and Leavenworth, which is driven by the military base that's there. It's on the river, and it's an interesting sub-market if you can come to terms and understand it. It's kind of a ways away, but if you can get the numbers to work, they are interesting markets to invest in due to the military base presence. And so that's something to look at. And then you're going to say, what about all the stuff you didn't talk about, Alex? Well, all the stuff I didn't talk about is really kind of just general Kansas City, Kansas, or Wyandotte County. And it's something you have to really look at on a block by block basis, not necessarily neighborhood basis. And so when you see stuff that comes online in Kansas City, Kansas, reach out to me. We can talk about the numbers. We can talk about the location. We can see if it's a B, C, D location. So you just have to be kind of careful in this area. And that's really kind of it right now for Multifamily Minute. We've got a couple new properties coming on board here pretty quick. And I look forward to hearing from you to see what you're interested in, what you're after, and what I can help you with. And that'll do it for Alex Olson here with the Multifamily Minute.